So we're here again this week. It's David and Nick. Just to recap, I've been a health analyst for almost 20 years now, and finance has always been a hobby of mine. So Nick and I have known each other for a long time now, and we love to talk money together. So we thought we'd come and start, recording these so other people could learn what we know. So that's a little bit about me. Nick will introduce himself.
Hey guys, I'm Nick. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Homemade margaritas today. I say David and I, been really good friends for quite a while. Like to share the knowledge. History about me: I still work a day job for now. There's a chance with this pandemic going on that I'm going to lose my job. We'll find out. But I'm a warehouse worker, and then I own my own real estate. I'm a landlord, so real estate business doing that. A few properties there. I'm excited about today's show. David and I have kind of been gearing up. We've talked all week, and we're excited to give you guys some knowledge on some things to do right now and some things not to do that we find will help you get through this in a better financial success. So we wanted to start out with some real estate tips for you guys. Guys, one of my biggest things right now is when it comes to real estate, we have a mortgage, and I'm the kind of person where on all my mortgages, I round up quite a bit. So if my mortgage is $825, let's say, or $823, I round up to $850 or $825. But those $2 or that $27 at this time could, make a difference on where it goes. So we talked about some things that we could do. One thing, I guess, would be, and David, correct me, I guess, if I'm wrong, but we want to call our mortgage company, whoever holds our mortgage, whoever we pay it to, and we want to see if they have some type of a relief for us, or skip a payment for the month. We want to see if there's anything they can do during this virus to help us keep our house, stay in it, right? I know here in Michigan, the governor's big thing is stay in the house, don't evict people. No foreclosures are technically happening. I mean, the process is going to happen really quick right after. There's a date where it's like, hey, everything's just going to hit. But call your mortgage company and see what they can do to help you. And then say one thing to help get by, I wanted to talk about was if you know that you are going to have a job, but things are a little tough right now, so you were making really good money, and the unemployment doesn't really cover it, so you're running a little short on making your payment. I don't usually suggest it to people, but instead of losing a house, if you know that you're going to have it for later, I want to suggest doing a refinance. What it'll do is during that, for that refinance, you'll be able to slow your payment process. You'll be able to skip a month basically after you close. You won't have to make that, so it'll buy you some time. If you talk to your title company, you can wait days to have to pay that next one. And then, if you're struggling right now to get by, instead of using credit cards or other expensive tools, one thing I really enjoy is a home equity line of credit. So if the value of your house, is more than what it's worth, more than what the value of your house is worth more than what you owe, you can get a line of credit. I know there's one credit union here that'll do 100% financing on a property. Most will do 80%. So if you owe less than that, you can get the difference between those and have a revolving line of credit to pay some bills. I would suggest only using, let's call it a couple $1,000s. You could use it to make the payment, take the money out, put it in your account, and make the payment on your house to get by. HELOCs are great because they're free. They're free to apply for the loans usually. Worst case scenario, you're going to have an appraisal, and that'll cost you a couple $100 maybe. That's if you're really close on numbers that you are trying to hit. If you have a specific number that you're trying to get. But otherwise, right? I mean, anything to open up a line of credit that is only at, I think it's at ours right now in this location are 3.5% maybe, with prime. So it's really inexpensive money to borrow. And, if I were some of you guys, you have to look for them. I know we have a bank called Huntington Bank. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they're a national bank or not, but I know that they'll lend on second properties. So I could do a HELOC against one of my rentals instead of having to do a second mortgage against my own house. The rate's going to be a little bit more expensive, but if you're more comfortable not putting your house on the line and having that sturdy, guarantee, you look into all those options. So and they close within about 3 weeks, so you'll be able to have your money kind of right back to you. So that's a big thing. Anything that you're thinking to add about that, David?
So my basic add to that is, depending on what economist you like or what economist you listen to, they'll tell you either we're close to a recession or we're in a recession or there's no recession coming. So my honest belief is we're in a recession right now, okay? I've been talking to Nick about this for the last year. I said a recession is coming. I'm going to tell you right now, it would have been here in the fall, but because of COVID-19, it's here now. And at some point, these banks are going to say, okay, we can't afford to loan money to anybody, so you don't have options to refinance or you don't have options to get a HELOC. So if these are things that interest you, do not wait on them. Time is of the essence with everything. And one of the things that Nick and I always agree with, time is money. He has said it other times. Bill Gates, if he dropped a $100 bill on the ground, it costs him more money to pick it up than it does to just let it fall.
Yep.
So don't wait to do some of these things, because there may come the point where your banks say, yeah, I'm sorry, we're not lending any money, and you're out of luck here.
Sure. Some other things that kind of come up with real estate is, if you went into this COVID time and you were already behind, I know most states right now, they shut real estate down for buying and selling. I guess for showing, you can still buy and sell. People are getting by making videos of the house that they're looking at and then putting in offers that way. So if you were already behind and you're a couple of months behind already, call the bank, see what they can do, especially now with the COVID. Maybe there's something that this COVID might have just helped you prolong that amount of time. The next thing is, I know we open up on May 7th, so our agents can start selling or showing houses and selling them again. So, if you're behind a few months and foreclosure is a thing that's going to happen and you don't have another job kind of lined up, get that house on the market as fast as possible. We can't guarantee anything, right? But one thing that we know is history, right? And so right now things are still selling. People are doing the virtual tours, so that means you're still getting decent money for your house. So if you can get that thing listed and sold quickly, that'll help you out. So start calling agents right now, doing video or phone interviews, anything like interview the person, make sure they're good people, get the house sold, so that way it'll give you another 30 days to get moved out, or 45 days, and you won't have a foreclosure on your history, and you'll be able to get into like a rental a lot easier. I know myself as a landlord, right? It's something you have to look at, bankruptcies and foreclosures. It says, hey, this person just either they don't pay their bills. That's all that thing says to me. I can't, I can get stories about what happened, but on paper it just says, hey, the bills don't get paid, and I can't guarantee anything. So.
Well, I think one of the good things to look at too is when you sit there and you look at housing. So I bought my house in April of 07, which was a little over a year before the bubble burst. So I spent more than the house was worth. It was probably worth about 120 when I bought it. I spent 132. Within a year and a half, it was worth 100.
Sure.
If I listed it right now, I'd list it somewhere between 2 and 225.
Sure, and and that's it. It ebbs and flows like crazy, right? I mean, it's just the old saying, right? Buy low, sell high, but nobody knows what the highest is ever going to be, and nobody knows what the lowest is ever going to be, right?
Correct.
I just sold a house. A few months back. Older couple, right? It was their second house, and they lived in it for the next 60-something years of their life. They paid $10,500 for a brand new build, right? 60-some years ago. So what we sold it for was more than 10 times that. So they were happy because they never really realized. And the funny thing is this whole time they've been making like 30-year payments. They told me they made 30-year payments, the minimum, like the entire time. Even though they kept getting raises and things, and it was like it was like $23 or something for a payment. That's crazy. So, right? I mean, if you think that you guys are going to find a job and you can hold on to it, I always say hold on to a house, right? It's one of your best assets. I mean, there's times where it's not a great asset, but doesn't mean the value's not, it's not going to be there. I mean, I don't think a single house is going to be worth $0. Even the land itself is still going to be worth some type of money. So, it has a fire, you can sell some land. Yes, is it hard to sell? Sure. Doesn't mean it's not got value. I fortunately am a little younger than David, so I started a little later. I started in 2010 when I was 20, when I bought my first house, and that, that was foreclosure time. So I bought my first house for $62,000 or something, and have done some remodeling things myself, and now I think it appraised for, I don't know, like 193 or something. So the value of these things, and so I have enough money to play with that, to let it go down. One thing I look at money, right? I look at items as the value is only worth what somebody's willing to pay you for it. So if I'm not willing to sell it for a certain price, don't sell it, as long as I can. So I always try to keep myself into a position to where I can say no, right? I don't need to sell anything. I think, with my current house, we talk about, hey, what would we do? And I have a HELOC on mine. In worst case scenario, we live off of that, because interest only for 10 years. I mean, I'm a couple of years into it, but I got it right away when I first bought this house 4 years ago, and the value of my house is almost doubled since then. And so, I can go back and reapply for a whole new loan, get a whole new 10 years at interest only, and ride this thing out until I find the next thing. So, guys, there's options out there. If you have a specific situation that you're going through, that you want to figure out what might be mine or David's best advice to handle each situation, I'm always willing to talk about those things if you want to talk about it in private and help out. And, when it comes to financing, if one says no, there's a million that will say yes, right? I mean, there's so many banks out there. So
I'm going to divert us a little bit here, because something you just said hit with me. So
yeah,
if one bank says no, there's others to say yes. So of course we're in this pandemic, and one of the things that came out recently for small businesses, which, one of the other things I have is my wife runs a small business in Byron Center. It's a break room. You go and you break stuff. A lot of people love it. They have a great time. Well, right now we're classified as an entertainment venue, so we don't get to be open. So one of the programs that came out was a PPP, Payment Protection Program loan. This was open to small businesses, but of course, the government doesn't really care about small business. They say they do, but they don't. So many of the companies that got these small business loans were companies like the Los Angeles Lakers or Ruth Chris.
Yes.
And some decided to give back the loan. I know that my first job was at Wendy's in Plainwell, Michigan. They're owned by Meritage, who got a huge loan. And Meritage owns 40, 50 different restaurants. They're not really a small business. And because they own restaurants, many of their restaurants are still open. They have a lot of money from this loan. So when my wife was looking for this loan, she went to the bank we deal with here in Byron Center, which is United Bank of Michigan, and was basically told, we're not big enough for them to care about. Which, if you think about it, is ridiculous. But okay, fine. So she went through a couple other companies and actually ended up getting the loan through PayPal because she didn't just take one company's word for an answer. There are a lot of lenders out there, and they're willing to do a lot of different things. You have to shop yourself around and really sell yourself. If you're willing to do that, somebody's going to be willing to give you money.
Yep. And we see, I see it all the time, right? I mean, just with lending especially. So, hey, we have a couple things that we don't want you guys to be doing right now that we feel pretty important to us. One of them is with your current job. If you have it, if you lost it, anything like that, we don't want you to withdraw from your 401k, your retirement for the future. Right? It is meant to be there for later. Myself being 31 years old, David only being 40, he still has multiple years. So I mean, right, this is going to rebound. So, and even if it doesn't, like that money will still be there for later when you absolutely don't have potential to work anymore, or the income capabilities, right? I mean, the price of everything goes up, so you're going to need more money later on.
Yeah, one of the things we look at with a 401k loan, if you take a loan, your repayment costs are going to end up being more than your original contributions, because you have to look at this as a time value of money. $1 today is not worth as much as $1 in 2 years. Okay, if you invest $1 today, it's worth more in 2 years than what it would have been. If you take it out, you're losing that potential growth, and that's something you don't want to do. So your opportunities go down because you don't have as much money in that 401k. Now, Nick, here's a great example. You're absolutely destitute. You decide, okay, I'm not taking a loan. I have to take my 401k out. There are programs for that right now, aren't there?
Yeah, it's right. The government just declared it not too long back. Basically what you can do is you can take out from your 401k with no 10% penalty on it, no fees added to it, and you don't have to pay it back in the normal payback time. So you're not penalized. Is it an option? Yes, but the amount of money that you're losing because you're not having it invested. I mean, yeah, investments are going down, but right, again, this is money for later, right? This isn't a normal everyday checking account where you can spend it and your job will earn it back. That's not how this works. So, if you are going to lose everything and it's a matter of whether you and your family eat, take it. Take the money, feed your family, make sure you're okay. But that's about the only thing I can tell you, right? Feed your family, house your family, and I mean, I know it's hard to go from a nice 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house or whatever down to 2 or 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a normal. But the rent's going to be so. Yeah, your life's going to change, and it has changed. So the biggest thing is if you absolutely have to, and it's a matter of life and death pretty much, and your family, yeah, okay, take the 401k, but
Yeah, I can honestly tell you, when I was younger, I wish I had Nick's mindset, because Nick's mindset is, I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire by the time I'm 50. Probably earlier than that, if you ask Nick.
50 seems too long for me, man.
Yeah, exactly. So when we were setting up 401ks at work, people would say, well, what age do you want to retire? And I'd laugh at them going, I'm never going to have enough money to retire. What are you talking about? Yeah. And I fully expect, by the time I get old, there's not going to be any Social Security. They're trying to get rid of it every day because they want the money. So
it's like, we've been hearing it forever that, people say, hey, there's not going to be any. And my feeling on that, right, is that's an opinion, right? You think there's not going to be it. Other people think it's going to be there. You and I both err on the side of, hey, if we have it, great, yep. And if it's there, but I'm here for me. I've gotten my whole life through with me only, right? No, granted, I just got a few bucks from a stimulus check, right? I mean, they took out a few $10 for everything I made over whatever amount of money, but that was a handout. I'm not gonna lie, right? But everything is I'm building my 401k for my thing. Like, I'm gonna take care of me, and everything else, that's gonna be great money, right? I mean, that's gonna be to me, margarita money and beer money. So.
Well, people ask me all the time, with my wife opening this business, are you going to get to a point where you'll quit your job? I'm not. I work from home. I like, for the most part, what I do. As long as they're going to keep me employed and it's not going to change, the work from home status, I'm going to keep this job until I decide I don't want to work anymore.
Yeah.
It's not something that I wake up and I say, oh my God, I don't want to work today. I never have that issue. I may not want to deal with some of the things I have to at work, but for the most part, I enjoy what I do. So I don't mind doing it. Right now, during this pandemic, we cap out, I think I've told you this before, Nick, at 456 hours of PTO. Once you hit 456, you don't earn anymore. I'm at 445. I'm taking a day off every 2 weeks.
Sure.
I don't get to do anything. I take it off and I'm sitting at home doing what I do on the weekends now.
Yeah,
but I have to.
Listen, I'm the complete opposite. I mean, I've been at my current job for 7 years, working in the warehouse, and so I get 3 weeks, I think, of vacation. So not much, and I have certain vacations that are planned throughout the year. I was supposed to go away in April, and then in July, and I think we were supposed to go away in a couple of weeks, and that's not going to happen. So I'm finding myself to have like an extra couple hours that I'm already trying to spend later. I'm like rebooking vacations. I'm like, yeah, I'll be gone in November. See ya. Like once I get it, I pretty much spend it. Like I know how long my summer vacation can be or my winter getaway. It's I don't work from home, right? So I have to get out of my place. You, right? I mean, you get to work from home, and then your freedoms are kind of there. So.
Well, one of the things I want to harken back to our last show. So we talked about ways to make money now, and one of the things Nick said was, "Hey, do some lawn care for people in the area." And I woke up the next morning and I had a text message from Nick with a picture of, I think it was from Hudsonville Informed, which is near where Nick lives. What did it say, Nick?
Somebody needed a bunch of brush from their front yard hauled away, and we did the show, and I was like, I'm dumb not to do this. So, I hopped in my beater truck, drove over there. $40 later, I think it took me, with drive time, it was like 14 minutes or something, including the load up, for $40. And yeah, I have to burn it or get rid of it. The other, the fun part about that is for that $40, because I posted on Facebook that I would take the yard stuff, somebody else reached out and said, "Hey, I seen you commented on this saying you'll grab it. Are you interested in taking 4 bushes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm already headed to I'm already doing it. My truck bed's dirty. Let's do it." So I think I'm taking 4 bushes to get rid of them for $30. So I do that tomorrow. It's a little bit of money that adds up. So.
Well, and that's the thing, we want everybody to understand. A little bit of money adds up quickly. So do what you have to do to get a little bit of money and start snowballing that from there. Nick answered one ad, got 2 jobs out of it, and he's getting $70.
Yeah.
So
and it'll probably be a total of, I don't know, it'll be less than an hour's worth of work, right? So if I round it all up and call it an hour, that's $70 an hour. I'm doing okay. Even at a half an hour, $140 for the, yeah, it's pretty, and the funny thing is, I'll probably post on Facebook, that'll say, "Oh, done," or "took care of this," and the person will comment saying how great it was. Right, I showed up to the one, and I had a rake with me so I could make sure it cleaned up, because in my mind I was instantly thinking somebody else is gonna want this, and if they say, "Oh, he did a great job and showed up with a rake," I'm gonna get another job, and I'm like, I might as well do a couple extra bucks right now, right?
Right.
Just before this, we were talking, and I'm not one to shy away from sharing things that happen negative, right? A lot of people don't tell people what happens in real estate because they're afraid they won't ever get into it, or some people fear not getting in. But we were talking. I have a hot water heater that's going out. Hot water's only lasting 10 minutes on it. Had my guy come over, and yep. So I can replace one part for $475 on a 17-year-old water heater, or I can replace a water heater for $1,100. I mean, I just earned $70, so I'm $1,030 in the hole. So it's slowly but surely I can dwindle away at that amount of money, and I didn't have to spend it. So it's things like that happen. It's just doing the things to make it happen. Personally, I don't take care of water heaters. You have to pull permits for them. You have to do all this. So I leave that to the professionals. Small jobs I do myself. So while he's doing a water heater, I'll cut some grass or do something to earn some money. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna go learn how to do some work on one of my boilers. I have a valve that's stuck open. So I have to buy the part, and he's going to teach me. So hands-on learning, and all it costs me is a couple thank you beers and some labor. Right? I'm always willing to work and learn. So excited for that.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this ahead of time, but kind of the focus of this show is things not to do and some things to do. So one of the next things we wanted to hit was, let's say you're getting a tax return. So this is something Nick doesn't ever have to worry about because he always pays.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. If you're getting a tax return and you have not filed your taxes yet, honestly, what the hell are you waiting for? The government's holding your money. They're holding it tax-free. Get your money. Get it now. If you're in Nick's boat and you have not filed your taxes yet, Nick, should you file them right away?
Most people no. I would suggest, save that money until as long as possible. I go file my taxes. That way I know how much I owe. And then I make my payments as I get the money. I can send multiple payments. It just has to be paid in full by a certain date. So, usually April 15th, but they extended it. So, I'll be honest, I already had mine paid up. But if you're the person that, hey, you heard it? Yeah, wait. I think July 15th is the new date. Right? Keep that money making money. We've talked about the accounts and things like that. But depends on how much you owe, you're going to make interest on it. You might as well make that interest and have it pay for itself. So, yeah, if you haven't, if you haven't filed your taxes and you normally get a tax refund, right, get your money. If you went through a separation, a divorce, had a kid, something like that, to like change how you file or anything like that, and that's why you haven't done it, talk to an accountant. It might cost you a couple bucks. If you normally file yourself, talk to an accountant. They're professionals, right? I think normal, moderate to lower income, let's call it. An accountant's going to run you $100 a block, I think, something like that. I mean, they know what they're doing. They're going to get you the tax return. They can teach you, who claims what and all that. So, and it'll help with your stimulus check if you haven't got that and you're wondering why. Maybe you didn't file taxes last year. Maybe your address has changed and you filed taxes this year. Or you filed last year but you haven't filed this year, and they're probably sending a paper check to the old address. If you got that way, if you got direct deposit, you should have seen it. But it could be that they're waiting for taxes. So file it, figure it out, and that way you guys are ready to go. So
kind of the next thing we wanted to hit on is if you own a small business, which both Nick and I are kind of in this boat because we both have small businesses. There's a lot of opportunities out there for you right now for money. Okay. The PPP loan is out there, which is the payment protection program. It dried up originally. They have added additional funds to it, so it's available. Shop those around, apply to multiple places. You can only get one. So once you get one, you can withdraw all those other applications you have out there. There are certain requirements you have to hit for that loan to be forgiven. So if you get a PPP loan, you have to spend 75% of it on paying your workers. For us, we only have one full-time employee. It's my wife. So she has to pay herself 75% of what that loan is. And the other 25% have to go to applicable bills. If she does forgive the loan. So as a business owner, if you can get this, go get it. Now, we touched on this a little earlier. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, I don't think you need to go do this. I know they did, and I know they're giving the money back. But I'm sorry, a company that employs over 300 people to me is not a small business.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I don't think that's small at all. So.
And they're worth like $4 billion. So I don't think they need the money. I think it was in poor taste to go get the money. I think that was found out with a lot of those companies. It was in very poor taste. So there are also grants out there. My wife has been lucky enough to get a grant and some other things that will help us keep the lights on, because we have not been open since the middle of March, and we're a week away from being closed for 2 months. We talked to our landlord. Our landlord said, yeah, that really sucks, but we still have bills to pay, so you're still paying rent.
Yep.
So no break on our rent. The loan we took out to make the business, they were great. They said, hey, we're going to let you skip a month. We're not going to add any extra interest. Just, it'll add a month to the end of the loan. Yeah, that's helpful because, that saves us money. And because they're not going to add additional interest to it, that's even better. It's almost like getting more free money. That's something you want. She talked to Comcast. Comcast was willing to cut the bill down because we're not using phones and internet right now. Obviously, we turned the gas way down. We're not using as much electricity. So some of the bills have gone down. That's great. But a lot of the other bills still exist. So you have to find ways to pay those. So applying for some of these programs that are out there, that's the way to keep the business afloat while you're waiting.
Sure. And I say, and there's the common ways that some people know about, right? There's the GoFundMe's, there's the Facebook fundraisers and things like that, right? So if you are a small business and you can't work right now, I mean, there's options to do things. I know some restaurants around here, we're doing gift cards. I make T-shirts on the side for fun. Right? You can always there's a really fun page I'm part of, Michigan Beer Chuggers. Right? They started making T-shirts as a fundraiser to help. Right? So I mean, there's things, but there's options out there. Like say like David said, the PPP is huge. Find a bank, find somebody that'll get it for you. PayPal, I didn't even know that PayPal was doing them, right? So there's financial institutions. There's so many things that you don't even think about that are doing it. So, let's say, and then we wanted to talk about some don'ts extremely. One of our biggest don'ts, right? We talked about was 401k. The next thing, I know David and I both agree upon, it's probably our most hated thing in the whole financial system is a payday loan. I can't say how horrible these companies are. They say they're there to help, but I'm almost to the point where I'd rather suck up my pride and call somebody I haven't talked to in 50 years just to borrow money, because it'll be cheaper than getting a payday loan, or a cash advance, whatever these are called. The interest on these things are just ridiculous. So, we I guess that's some of the biggest advice I can give you. If you've done it before, right? Some of you have gotten bit by knowing that, hey, when you borrow that kind of money, something's going to break, and you're not going to have money to fix that either, and you're not going to have money to pay back that loan. So, we want to.
I just did a quick internet search. Payday loans APRs, which is annual percentage rate, range between 391% to 591%.
Yep.
That's worse than a loan shark, people.
I have used a loan shark for some things in my life, and I think max I paid is like 17%, and I thought I was getting ripped off.
There was a running joke when I had more money. It was, hey, if you need a loan, call the Bank of David, which has quickly turned into, if you need a loan, call the Bank of Caitlin, because my daughter has money. And I'm obviously a sucker, because I charge you what my bank gives me in interest. So if they're giving me 4% in interest, that's what my loan costs. Because that's what I'm paying. I'm losing. If I give you $1,000, I'm losing 4% on that. So you're going to pay that 4% back to me. These payday loans, they don't care. You go take $200 out, they're going to get $283 back in 7, 8, 10 days.
Yep.
And at that point, I think Nick will agree. So you hit your payday and you got to pay that money back. Now, where's the money to pay the bills? So what do? You go take another payday loan, and you kind of never get off of that. Yeah. It's almost like a drug. You need more every time.
Yep. And so your income's not going to magically just go up because you want it to or thought it would. We've seen a lot of negative come from it, right? I'll be honest, I've never heard a story of somebody going to get a payday loan, buying scratch-off tickets, and becoming a multimillionaire. Yeah. It's never been a story that's hit, and I don't think anybody should risk that opportunity to be that person. So,
I think that runs us into our next thing of, don't be afraid to call your lenders and the bills that you have. So whether it's your mortgage or your credit cards or your utilities, it's in their best interest to work with you. So call them and see what they can do.
Just saying, I think, most large corporations, or apparently they're small, you know, but you know, I think most of them are expecting it. They're geared up towards it. You're not the you're not the only person in this situation right now. Everybody watching, everybody listening, you know, we're all in this together. And so these companies are waiting for that phone call. One thing, you know, I say out of that list, David, was, you know, call your car insurance company, right? I mean, you're
Yes.
not driving as much. You know, so there some companies are giving the discount right now. They're saying, hey, you know, you're not driving, we want to give back. So see if you can get right now is the perfect time to negotiate that. You know, what I was thinking was, you know, get the company on the line, say, hey, you don't have to know anything that you're asking for. Just be like, hey, what are you guys doing for COVID, right? I mean, and then somebody's going to open up and they're going to go, oh, hey, we're knocking bills down. We're taking delayed payments. We're doing whatever. And you're going to go, okay, I'm going to take advantage of that. Why not? You know, so, right, these companies already have things set up. And if they don't, you know, say, oh, you know, again, if you were to say, hey, you know, what are you doing for COVID? They say nothing, pay your bill. You know, at least you have communication. You say, hey, well, I can't pay my bill. Are you willing to put me on a payment? Are you willing to cut all my services for cable or whatever? Because, you know, and once you go to cut service completely, you know, they're probably going to negotiate, right? So, but you know, once you say, hey, you know, this, you have a negotiation, you have a leg to stand on. And you know, if there's cancellation fees, right, maybe you can get it waived. I mean, there's so many things to, you know, people are trying. Most businesses are really trying to do the right thing right now. They really are. They're trying to help out. And I think if you came to them and said, hey, look, this is where I'm at right now. I need some help. You know, they're willing to help. Any other companies you think to call, David?
I would say any of your utilities, your car insurance is a great point. I know we got Comcast at the business to cut the bill down because we're not using stuff. I think I mentioned that already. Your mortgage company, obviously, anybody you have a loan with, you know, if you have car loans, call them, see what they're doing. Most places are doing something. Nick knows as well as I do because, you know, Nick is a landlord. I have a business. It's much cheaper to keep your current customers than it is to go find new ones. Okay. If Nick has a bad tenant, sure, maybe he wants to get rid of that bad tenant, but it's going to cost him money to find a new one. Yeah. He'd rather have a good paying tenant that stays than have to constantly fill vacancies.
Yeah. I mean, you know, vacancies equals, you know, of course, no money for the time that nobody's there, and it equals, you know, repair cost. I mean, you know, there's not a doubt in my mind that somebody walked in and wiped their shoes on the carpet, right? I have to get that cleaned every time. I have to, you know, so it's always a cost, right? So it usually is. It's, you know, it's the old fun saying, right? Cheaper to keep her. So at times it's cheaper to keep it. But David, you brought up a thing about calling for car loans. That's another don't for me right now.
Yes, they're running a lot of programs lately because of course there's this backlog of new cars.
Yep.
You can come get a new car, no interest, 84 months.
Yeah, baby, free money.
That's fantastic. Now, Ummer's not joining us tonight, but Ummer's a great example of this. So he's 2 incomes, nothing's changed. If he needed a new car right now, he should absolutely jump on that.
Yeah.
Now, Nick and I are a little different here. Things have changed. Could we afford that? Yeah, we might be able to afford that. Is this a smart money move right now? I don't think so. Nick, you think it's a smart money move?
No, I never think buying a brand new car is a smart money move. But if you're asking me right now, I'm in the market for a vehicle. I normally am going to buy something. I mean, I buy things. My truck is an '03 with more rust than that, or more Bondo and rust than sheet metal. And I have a 2010 Scion, right? That I absolutely love. But so I buy older things. But I know some people they enjoy a newer vehicle, and a lot of people talk about, hey, don't buy a new car because depreciation happens right away. But I know right now with 0% interest, if you're going to go finance a vehicle, which I never agree with, if you're going to go do it and you're going to do it anyway, right? Buy brand new right now at 0% compared to, you're going to go buy a used one that, yeah, okay, it's gone down, 25% or 30%, but it's got miles on it, and you're going to pay. I haven't looked at the car interest rate in a while. What, 3.5%, 5%?
Probably 3 to 4.
Yeah, and so the amount of money, right? If you do the math, you're going to be cheaper to have the free money right now, and they're giving you what? I think 4-6 months to pay, no interest or something.
Yeah.
I think I've heard anywhere from at least 3 to 6 months of no payments, right? I mean, that if you're on unemployment, don't go do this, right? If your job isn't secure, don't go do this. If you're like Ummer, right, you were going to buy a car anyway and things are fine, yeah, right? I mean, it's a decent option, but don't go do it just because you want a new vehicle. Do it because you were going to in the first place, and everything is secure and your life hasn't changed.
And we know there are people out there like that. You're still making the money you were making before. Really nothing's changed for you. You're an essential worker. The money's there. There are a lot of things out there you can take advantage of right now if you have not had some kind of shift in money. Yeah. I know when I look at us, so my money hasn't changed one bit. My wife's has, but we got the PPP loan, so that's going to help, basically give her back what she was losing in salary. But I mean, it's May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo again, Nick.
Yes, cheers, my friend.
It's May 5th, but I don't know when we're going to reopen. Our best guess right now is our grand reopening is going to be the same time as our 1-year anniversary, and we're hopeful that happens. If it doesn't, we might go all of June without working again. And at that point, we're back to she's not making any money.
Sure. And when you reopen, I mean, let's say that there's somebody else watching that owns a small business. They're exactly like you, right? Would you have your wife go buy a new car,
No.
not knowing what the customer base is going to look like?
No. So just to give you the insight on what Nick and I do. So I know there are certain things in my budget that, fluctuate every month. Groceries, gasoline, eating out. I sent Nick a text the other day that said, hey, we were $300 under budget this last month on groceries, gasoline, and eating out. Mind you, the grocery bill was $300 more than I budget, which shows you how much less the gas and the eating out was.
Sure.
Now, true, I bought some groceries for my daughter in there, but I don't think I bought her $300 worth of groceries. And I bought her groceries when she lived here too, so I didn't really adjust that budget at all. You have to sit there and be honest with what's going on. I'm not looking to spend extra money right now because I don't know what my wife is going to make in a month. If I know she's making, $500 a week or $800 a week, okay, now I can make some decisions. Without knowing that, I know what I make, and mine's constant because I'm salary. And I have to find a way to pay the rest of the bills that what my salary doesn't cover.
Sure. Well, that's I'm in the complete opposite boat right now. Right. So my wife had an income, she's in the medical field, is now officially on unemployment. And we don't know how long that's going to last, right? I can't guarantee that, surgeries and everything are going to start right back up. They're going to want to sanitize everything and kind of do it slowly. you know, me, I've been taking my company has been paying us, you know, a certain amount of hours per week. It's gone down. I mean, for the past 2 months, started at like 30 hours of pay to guarantee. Went to 20. Went to, you know, basically I think 15 um, hours of pay, and then next week they're paying us 0 if we don't come into work. Right. So I, you know, I mean, they've been paying me to stay home, but my income, and every week they send out a notification that just says, hey, you know, you're getting lower and lower hours. We can't afford to pay you to do nothing. So, you know, I don't know how much I'm going to get, you know, and I'm supposedly going to go back to work next week. If I have a job, they don't call and fire me. Um, you know, I don't know how many hours there are. I've talked to some of the guys that I work with, and some of them are only working 20 hours, right? So it's I can't guarantee. You know, I was used to working 50 hours, 40, you know, 45 plus. You know, you know, when I first started, I was working 60, and slowly, you know, as I got pay raises, I worked less hours. But yeah, it's you know, so I don't have a clue. My wife doesn't have a guaranteed income. I don't have a guaranteed income right now, and with real estate, you know, I mean, you don't know who's going to pay until, you know, the time happens. I know this month was worse than last month. You know, well, let's say we had the stimulus money. I had a few people pay in early, which was great, but you know, a couple of my people didn't get unemployment and they didn't get stimulus. Right, so that changes a lot of things there. So I am a little nervous for next month. We'll see what happens. You know, so I'm not buying anything right now except for fuel to go pick up some brush in somebody's yard, or you know, to go fix a couple things at some places. But I'm not. Trust me, my truck is, she goes from A to B, and that's the kind of person I am. You know, I'd love a new truck, but I'm not going to go spend that kind of money. Speaking of unemployment, I wanted to touch base on that real quick. If you haven't signed up for it and you think you're going to be on it, or you're on it, and we want to just tell you, don't be frustrated. Everybody's going through it right now, trying to call. You know, the do it on the non-peak hours, right? If you can stay up an extra 30 minutes or something to maybe get online, you know, do that. If you can set your alarm for 30 minutes early, you know, to be in the queue for the phone, you know, do that. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, David, but right, I think the $600 bonus for being on unemployment only goes until the end of July. So the faster you get
Yes.
into it, the more money you're going to make, right? And I think here it's so different because I want to be clear about this. Uh, West Michigan, West Michigan alone, 60% of the population on unemployment is officially making more money being on unemployment than they were in their jobs. Right? That tells you how low we're paid here. This area is not rich. I mean, you go to Napa Valley in California. You go to my best friend in New Jersey. Right? I mean, my best friend, right? He's an engineer, and his husband's a doctor. Right? So them losing their job, they're not going to make crap for unemployment, you know. So granted, they can, well, the one can work from home and the other one works in the hospital. So, but it's, you know, it's very adamant. Like if you're one of those 60%, get your money. Like do it fast, fast, fast. Like get on board. You have May, June, July, so 3 months that you're gonna make extra money. And I want to be very clear about this. You're used to making a certain amount of money, right? Whether you made $500 a week, now you're going to be making 900 a week, right? That $400 should never get spent on anything that you are, you know, you're going to raise a bill on. So you're not going to start a monthly payment on a truck because you have an extra $400, or you know, so take that money and invest it. Take that money, put it away for, oh crap, if I don't have a job in 3 months. Right? Build up that security so that way, in case these 12 weeks turn into 16, you have the money sitting aside. Right? Be very, very smart with it. You know, I know some people are it's a little tough to control money. Growing up, my grandparents taught me this thing, right? So I would do a paper route, and then I would give them my money that I earned, and they would just hold on to it until I could buy the thing I wanted, right? So they were my savings account, so that way I couldn't touch it. I had somebody to hold me accountable to tell me no, right? I'd be like, oh, I want to go to Pop, and they're like, nope, you got this to buy. So, you know, I use that up until you know, I use that still, right? I'll call and be like, hey, can you hold on to a bunch of cash for me, right? And yeah, sure, you know. So it's a thing. So find an accountability partner. Make sure you sign up for the unemployment. Get your money. Everything that's owed to you. Everything that, you know. If you've gone through a bad time, you know, if you are one of those people where you're not going to make as much, right? There's other things that we've talked about in this episode to help you recoup some of that money. So.
Well, and piggybacking off of that, one of those things you need to do is, let's say you have medical bills out there. Call and negotiate your medical bills. So my wife had a surgery. We got the bill, $5,400. She went into her doctor and she talked to the billing people there, and she goes, so if I pay this off, what are you going to do for me? And the first person she talked to goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, what discount am I getting if I pay this off right now? Well, why should we give you a discount? She goes, okay, well, I'll put it this way. If you don't want to talk about a discount, that's fine. I'll pay $1 a month for the next 50 years. I don't really care. And the lady goes, well, do you think that's a good answer? And my wife said, I don't think a good answer is telling me you won't give me a discount if I pay this off right now. So we ended up saving $400 on the bill because they wanted their money right now. Yeah. Does that suck for them? Sure it does. But it was a $5,400 procedure. It was, 45 minutes. Yep. I get that, they have certain things they have to pay for here, but they also want the money now. They don't want $50 a month for the next, 60 months.
Well, and the amount, it's just like what we say, right? The amount of money, if you pay them $1 a month for the next, 5,400 months, that's not going to help them make the money, right? Investing that'll take you so long. Where if they go from 5,400 to $5,000, invest $5,000, see how quick you get your, to $5,400, right? You've made that 400 back. So, if you have your stimulus check and some money and you have a couple bills laying around, even if it's a credit card and you're not delinquent on it, I don't care, right? Call and say, hey, I have X amount of dollars in my stimulus check left, right? Pay it off. Like, see if they'll give you a discount just to pay it off. They've earned interest off of you. They, with medical, they've already built in their interest pretty much that they're expecting you to make a payment. If you call and say, hey, I have cash on hand, right? Cash money, and you pay it, they're gonna take it. I mean, if you're having issues with anybody not taking it, I think we're already talking about another episode to how to negotiate some of these bills, what to talk about, and step by step of a process of how to do it. So.
Well, I know we have two more things on our list here, and they're both don'ts, which Nick and I were really big on don't do really dumb things. So one of the things we don't want you to do is don't panic sell your investments. So whether it's your 401k or your, from, my purposes, my 403b, or, maybe some annuities you have or some IRAs or some stocks that you have, don't sit there and go, oh crap, everything went down. Let's just get rid of it now. The market is the market. It's going to go down. It's going to go up. You want to buy low and you want to sell high. So for example, Disney's usually around $145 a share. I bought it at like 80 because it went down. Now it's back up over 100. If it gets back down to 80, I'm going to buy some more.
Like I seen it floating around 110 the other day. So
yeah, you find a way to make money. You cannot panic sell right now. If you have the money to wait these things out, you wait them out, because all that's going to do at the end of the day is cost you more money. And we're not about throwing money away. I don't want to light money on fire. Nick's got a beautiful new fire pit. I guarantee you, when the day comes that we're allowed to be in the same place together, I'm not going over there and we're not throwing $100 bills in the fire pit and lighting them on fire.
Maybe if they're printed on some fake paper and, I have to get rid of some stuff, but no, I don't intend to. So.
The other thing that we had was don't buy things you don't need. We hit on this a little bit, cars are a great deal right now. If you don't need it, you don't need to go buy it. Okay. Everybody has their hobbies, stuff they like, stuff they want. I like autographs. I'm not buying autographs right now because there's no reason to. I don't want to spend extra money on stuff. My daughter loves Funko Pops. She has like 5,000 Funko Pops. She's not buying any right now because we don't want to spend extra money that we don't have. I know there are things Nick enjoys that he's not sitting there going, yeah, I'm just going to go buy a whole bunch of this right now. The money's not there.
I'm into bowling. For anybody watching, right? So I have 800 series, 14 300 game. I'm not the greatest in the world, but I'm not horrible. So, I'm not buying bowling balls right now. There's opportunities to get into some raffles and things like that, and I'm not doing it. I'm not buying things that don't make me money right now. I collect some memorabilia as much as I want it. I'm not buying that. The biggest thing my wife hates about me is I buy big things that just sit around. I have an arcade bowling machine that I don't use, so I'm not buying those right now. I have a putting game that I don't use. It's just, so I'm not buying. If the golf course has just opened up, I've been saving up for golf clubs, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be buying them this year either, right? My old set works. I'm not going to make any money from golf. I am horrible at it. I am just really good at drinking on a golf course. So I'm gonna wait, right? I mean, if the money's there and nothing changes, I'll buy some. But the things that you want right now, that you have potential to just go spontaneously buy, wait on it, right? Wait till after everything opens back up, and if you still want it, go buy it. Have at it, right? But for us, our big thing is don't buy things you don't need right now. There's a difference between needs and wants, right? If you see toilet paper, pick it up, apparently, because that's the big hot commodity, But don't go buy, don't go buy 40,000 rolls because you can't return it, right? I mean,
I'm going to touch on a piece of pop culture here for a minute that Nick is too old to remember. So, in the early 80s, Wendy's had a commercial out with this old woman that kept saying, "Where's the beef?" And now Wendy's has no beef.
It's true. It's true.
So if you go to Wendy's, you can't order a hamburger, which I just think is the funniest damn thing in the world. And I just keep hearkening back to that woman yelling, "Where's the beef?" Because supposedly every other fast food place, they had small amounts of meat on their burgers, and Wendy's, you always got at least a quarter pound of meat. So I just want to throw that out there. I think that's freaking hilarious.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the knowledge that we've been giving you. Drop some comments. Subscribe to the channel so you guys can get our updates. If you guys can share it, that'd be great. I know this is going out on YouTube, going out on Facebook. David and I love doing it. We don't get paid for it. It keeps us away from our wives for an hour and a half type of a thing. But no, if you guys could just get some notifications, leave some comments of things that you want to see. That'd be great. We're looking forward to giving you guys as much of our knowledge as possible. So
Questions. If you have questions, please ask.
Let's say I can be found on Facebook. Otherwise, you know what? When this gets loaded, I'll throw my email in the comments. David, I am pretty sure you'll throw an email down there. Say reach out to us, and we'll do our best to contact with or connect with you and get you the answers that you might need. So we're not big time, so we don't have to hire people to answer your questions. It'll literally be me taking the time out of my day to answer your questions.
So thanks again for joining us, and we'll figure out what next week's show is going to be, and we'll let everybody know. And happy Cinco de Mayo, Nick.
Yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo. I gotta get another margarita.
And I'm gonna say this just because I know you'll love it. Happy Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah, sure.
We'll see you guys next week.